dating the guy with the humongous balls.
I don't think I've ever wanted that.
Good morning.
Super Saturday.
My coffee this morning. I'm going to put that down. So, how are you, Richard?
I'm very well, thank you, Dame Sherry Houston, the First Lady of London's glittering West End and the telly box.
I'm now. How the hell are you going to introduce all of us?
Why are you being so creepy to Sherry?
I'm not, darling. Just
Okay.
So he always says that to me. Whenever we meet at the corridor of ITV.
Debbie, I gather you've moved. It must be refreshing not to be living in something with bricks underneath it. Aren't you usually sleeping in your car, dear?
That was very cold, not kind.
Very funny, though.
Yeah, very
Richard, he normally sleeps through most of the show now, so we just give him a little nudge.
Do you know what? Moving. I think during the 90s, what with one moonlit flit after another from various accommodations and lean-tos, I must have moved about a dozen times, and there was nothing more satisfying than having a chunky Kit Kat and fish and chips.
Yeah.
The
I'm with you.
I didn't know what you were going to say there, darling, when
Even
you started
now.
with the word chunky.
Is there any other kind?
Absolutely. And Richard, are you celebrating Super Saturday today?
I am, but staying super safe. I'm going to support my local pub, which I appeared on Good Morning Britain on Friday at the local the Sculpt, which is wonderful, and it really is like the beating heart of our community here. We're lucky; we've got several really nice boozers around here.
How are they doing social distancing?
Oh, it's actually quite easy because they have a garden as well, and little tables inside. You know, you won't be able to go to the bar. You'll all be ordering from tables, so it's all table service. So they've done a cracking job actually. But it was very, very bizarre going back in, and you think about these pubs, and particularly these London locals, and I'm hugely fond of them. And I remember my late father used to love that pub. I remember how kind they were when we went there after Dad passed away, and Mum would be propping up the bar there. I'm mostly under it.
Good for her.
I do the odd shift at Christmas there, you know, behind the bar and stuff, and run a tab for the locals, and it's terrific. And it was lovely to see Jackie, who's the landlady, manageress, and the smell just going in, and the smell again was quite bizarre.
Yeah.
It's been since March the 20th, and we do have a really, really strong community here. And so it was lovely just to go through those doors again. But we've got two lovely regulars there called Chris and Trevor, who are straight out of Central Casting. They could be at the country. They are unbelievable. And of course, they won't be able to sit at the bar anymore, which is a shame. But I know they're going to pop over for a tipple. So it will feel like a reunion. We're just going to go along for an hour or so and raise a glass, because I think it's important to show solidarity. But of course, we've got to stay super safe.
Yeah.
And I think we've got to be careful this weekend, because we've got to stay safe for the not just the punters and ourselves, of course, but all the staff too, who are understandably, I'm sure, in many boozers up and down the country, they're a wee bit nervous about going back.
Absolutely.
They are.
I mean, we've talked about this, ladies, haven't we? Obviously, we can't press the flesh, so to speak, anymore. But it's quite bizarre when you suddenly find yourself in a group of people. It's like we've almost forgotten how to behave. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
how, you know,
we just know how to do it on Zoom. We know how to wave. We know how to sign off. But yeah, real life.
But real life.
Yeah, real life.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. Don't you find when you walk down the street, you're looking at people walk too close to you, you sort of pull away from them. It's like you're afraid.
You know what I think about that, Debbie, is that people, you know, when people used to drive and you'd be really cross with drive, move over, and it's like that. You look at people, there's a whole different thing that people have taken on, like drivers, when you're walking with your mask or whatever, and of people sort of tisking and being cross or not obeying the law, and it's taken over as drivers. I mean, now walkers.
I'm so used to people visibly stiffening whenever they see me on a red carpet, anyway, as you can imagine.
In what way, darling? In what way?
Sorry.
Just ready to
in a good way. In a good way.
In a good way.
Yes.
But yeah, you
are
both
right. Would be good, I would have thought. But
it's interesting to see how sort of people behave, because I bump into a lot of people here, people that sort of know you either from the telly or from the hood, and people who are regular dog walkers and stuff, and we sort of chat. And there are some people who sort of are wearing the masks and the bandanas and stuff outside, and you can tell that they're still, there is an element, as I say, of nerves there, but
yeah.
It's lovely just to feel that sort of hum of life coming back together again, and to be away from the hum of this shed, because it's been 105 days.
You have to move on from Dickie's den.
And I know you got some cleaning products today. We can't talk about them because Sherry didn't get hers, but you've got cleaning products.
We did. Well, just very quickly, just to flag up one that arrived this morning, Debbie, as I was recovering from this morning's, or rather yesterday morning's Good Morning Britain Live, a mirror cleaner. Now, I've told you, ladies, all the looking glasses in my house.
I love a mirror cleaner.
Removed. There are no mirrors in my house anymore because because it look absolutely shocking. But yeah, we can talk more about that next week, because I do love a good, thorough clean.
Absolutely.
If I can say, my backwash in my kitchen, if I can use that phrase, is all mirrors. And that
would do it.
Fabulous.
And I've heard about this product because it's all natural product, so it's nothing dodgy in it. Okay. It's like organic.
So
we
can
use
the backwash anywhere, can we? Is that
anywhere, darling?
Next week we'll talk about how good these products are. But also, we were sent a book, and we've all been a little bit stunned by it, haven't we, girls?
Yes, we have. Rather stunned.
Thought you would explain it all to us, Richard.
Oh,
yes.
Harry, you are a mirangenue in these matters, aren't you?
Yes, mirangenue? What does that mean?
What the hell? Is that kind of a dessert?
Yeah.
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
What does it mean?
So, Richard, here it is. The secrets to what men really want. Now, what the hell does that mean?
The secrets to what men really want.
Now, I went to the first chapter. Listen to this, Richard. Listen to this, Richard. The lady and the guy with the humongous balls.
What?
The lady and the guy with the humongous balls.
I don't think I've ever wanted that.
It doesn't say what you do with them.
Is this a pornographic book?
Juggle. I think you juggle.
No, girls. It's a practical book. It's page 3.
And there's another one.
It's a practical book. That's what
Mary Poppins and the Whore. Mary Poppins and the Whore is another chapter.
And if you, what men really want and how to keep them, Richard. Picture. Richard, attention, please.
Oh, good Lord. Well, I suppose how to keep him. Well, under lock and key. So I suppose it's a
little bit There's some sense.
Yes.
It's a little bit worrying at the moment that now that our lockdown is all but lifted, that they can now bolt for the door. And I imagine that quite a few will probably be doing just that. Right now, I feel like bolting for my own side return, because going live with you ladies is always a new level of terror for me.
Yes.
I don't know what you throw at me. And I never imagined, Sherry, I'd be sitting on your lap sucking on a Werther's while you were reading stories about great big balls.
You never know in life, Richard.
I know. You've taught me so many things. In fact, I've learned most things at your knee, dear.
That's for the nighttime show, Richard.
That's for the nighttime show. I used to get a lot of when I worked in radio in the late 90s. I used to have like a mid-morning show. So self-help books were, the perfect fodder for helping you feel a bit of dead air between making waves with the Nolans and various other vinyl that we were playing at the time. It was that long ago. And so self-help books, I always find I haven't really gone down that road with self-help books. I could probably use a little bit of advice. I find life, particularly with you ladies, is always an education.
It is self-help.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Richard, it says here, stale relationships. Well, I don't know if there's anything other than a stale relationship. When is it fresh? How does it started stale and ended up staler?
And so also, darling, none of us have one at the moment. So
no, not a relationship of any description.
I think the most worrying thing about this, it says, if you've ever been on one, you'll know that the first date is always the most nerve-wracking, and it's tempting to open the wine. But hear this, most men find drunk women a massive turn-off.
Can I just say, what I would like to know is, what's the secret for what women want? Just saying. What do we want?
Anyway, that was awkward.
Yeah.
the show.
I tell you what, look, I remember first dates is a very, very interesting subject, actually, because we've all been on them, and some of them with more success, I'm sure, than others.
Yeah.
And I remember being so nervous going on dates. And obviously this was a time when you would meet someone in a bar rather than sort of, doing it all through the internet as they do now, and with great success, obviously, the other generation, if you like, the younger generation. But I remember first dates, I'd always end up sort of booking a table somewhere. And of course, that's the worst thing you can do, because you're sat opposite the person, and they do encourage you to, I don't know, go 10-pin bowling or something. So you've got something else to talk about other than what's actually happening. And I would find myself, rather like I'm doing now, talking quite fast, filling dead air, almost like I was auditioning for the date. And of course, and then as my confidence grew, I would think, actually, you know what? It's actually all right for you to ask, for what you want out of this date and this relationship.
Thank you.
Actually, it's a two-way street, because I'd be so grateful, frankly, that the person obviously was sat there smiling with bleeding gums. I'd be like, okay, take me now.
Oh God, that's funny.
We talk about this a lot, and I remember a friend of mine said when they were building up their own profile on this dating app. And I've been in a relationship for many, many years now, and which would be a huge shock to him. But I remember my friend said, well, let's compose a profile for you, and what would it sound like? And obviously you've got to get it in a limited number of words and a limited space, etc., like that. Once you've got over the jeopardy of choosing a picture that you hope reflects you in some degree, or perhaps not. He said, sturdy 6-footer. I said, you've made me sound like a piece of Queen Anne furniture. So I don't even, I'm going back out there again, asking the question which the book clearly is establishing, that what do women want, what do men want? I mean, it's a lottery, isn't it? I mean, where to even start, even with the years and years, need I go on, years of experience that we all have.
And Richard, I have to tell you something, well, I don't know how you're going to take this, but I was talking to my daughter about you endlessly, and she had a dream. She had a dream, this is absolutely true, that you and I were going on a date.
Wow.
Don't know, but she told me that this morning.
Had you booked a table, Dee, and sat there just filling the air at the table?
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, if we were going on a date, I think what I would do now is I'd probably cook if I found myself back out there again, Dee. So I'd treat you to, it may not be particularly.
Yeah, you're right.
I do like a veal chop. So I'd probably start with, I'd probably serve something quite hearty, to be quite honest. Food, I think, is always a great opener. And obviously, you'd be tearing to the bathroom within 30 minutes, Dee, if you came to my house and ate there. But at least we'd get off to a great start.
We would.
Goodness. Has that ever happened to you before? That happened to me once on New Year's Eve. That I went for this wonderful dinner at this wonderful house, and it was just obviously something I ate just didn't agree with me. And the toilet was just at the back of the dining room.
Oh no!
Hysterical.
And it didn't have a window in it.
Oh no!
Say why I've said it now. I've told you.
It's out there.
It's out there.
Don't you find? I think also as we've ripened, ladies, to this beautiful and vital age that we're now all sharing, broadly speaking, is that having that confidence that's grown over the years is wonderful. It's almost like the smugness of middle age has replaced the arrogance of youth, and I think I'd rather be on the sort of smugger end in the nicest possible way than.
That's the most perfect phrase.
I love that. You well put.
Yeah, I think. I mean, as much as I did love my 20s, but I remember sort of standing in a bar with a bottle of hooch, lemon flavored alcohol, all those alcohol.
Yeah.
And I remember standing there thinking, oh, do you know what? In another hour, I can have a baked potato. I'd go to the baked potato shop on Old Compton Street, as it was, and it would just be this artery choking baked potato with like double layer of sour cream cottage, like a flatterer. And I'd be far happier in the comfort of a baked potato than I would a date, which probably says all you need to.
I think you're so right, because there is no one perfect thing anyway. And actually, we learn. I was just going to say, I just want friendship, laughs, companionship. It doesn't have to be this perfect thing, because it doesn't exist. Or at least that's my experience of it. It's a mixture.
You want everything, Harriet, that you don't get from these conversations on a weekly basis.
Yes.
we get everything from you, Richard. We
do.
Everything we can do on Zoom, if you understand my meaning.
Yes, absolutely.
I think the difference is, Richard, when you're in your 20s, you'd quite willingly take your clothes off. But as life goes on, you know, you just want to keep as many clothes on as possible and nothing shown. And then, you know, when you do take it off, well, you don't have mirrors anymore. I don't have mirrors, but it's such a terrible shock. You think, where did that person go? There was another person lived here at one time, and that person's now gone, obviously, to live in Spain or somewhere, and this person's left. What is it? You go, and it's going to get worse.
It's funny you should say that, because obviously, you know, we all do our best to keep ourselves tidy and stuff. And then I went in. We've got an ensuite that I don't know whose idea this was. Clearly our builder, who was brilliant, but it's like a glass ceiling as well. So you can imagine how bright it is first thing in the morning. It's just clear. Walk in, and there's no dressing it up. Even when you're fully robed, it is absolutely frightening. It's like a crypt and going in there first thing in the morning. It's absolutely horrendous. And I thought exactly that this morning. I thought, well, you've done your best to keep yourself tidy. You've done your squats on your bench and everything like that during lockdown. In this morning, I went, oh dear God, Richard, 51 is looming large. It's out there. And because of this lockdown, it's been sped up. You know, it's been sped up. So.
No.
But anyway, I think we look great, girls. I mean, let's face it.
You look fabulous.
I'd rather have the experience, to be quite honest. And again, because during this whole period, we've had a lot of time, each other, of course, and on these calls, to reflect on various patterns in our life and stuff like that. And I think we're at the right end of it, so to speak. I think we're very, very lucky to have weathered all the storms.
Yeah, I agree.
To be sat here and, frankly, just enjoying a titter. However they are.
Don't you talk to Harriet and I about titters? I mean, we don't need to talk about titters. We have enough of our titters, thank you very much.
We do.
We do. Gone very Dick Emery today, darling, I'm afraid.
Very Dick Emery. Well, you ladies are adorable.
Larry Grayson more.
And we love you, and we'll be cleaning next week.
We will be cleaning.
Yes.
Everything will be sparkling.
I'm going to have to stop the other half from nabbing these, actually. Mind you, he's a good deal younger than me, so he's probably still playing with the bubble wrap. Yeah, but once he's finished with the bubble wrap, he will be cleaning the house from top to bottom. So I will make sure there's some left for us to talk about next week.
Don't worry, darling. They will replenish. They will replenish. Yeah.
Wonderful.
As the wine does.
As the wine does. Well, let's enjoy the Super Saturday. Raise a glass.
Thank you, darling.
We'll see you next week.
I'm using the mirror spray.
Love you.
I'm using the mirror spray everywhere, dear. Just saying.
Bye. Bye.